Things are like there was a single woman who lived down the road from us called Miss somebody, can't remember her name, and she had a very big horse that lived in the paddock next door to us, and she rode her horse and painted. And I thought that was absolutely fantastic. There wasn't anyone else around who did anything like that.
Where were you and how old were you?
Early 1950s.
How old were you?
We lived there till I was about 10.
Oh, so very young.
Yeah. But I was very impressed by her and by what she did. And she always painted horses. I thought it was very romantic.
But you didn't paint with her, you were just watching her painting?
I just used to see what she did and talk to the horse.
Did you do oil painting first or watercolor, and how did it change over time?
Well, I did watercolour because I got given watercolours as a child. We used to use horrible paint at school, sort of rough paint. I think when I was a teenager and we moved to Wellington, I used to go and paint at the Hut Art Society, and I think I first used oil paints here. I remember doing a really awful still life of a roll of toilet paper and something. First oil painting.
Difficult?
Yeah.
Easy? Difficult?
No, difficult.
What was difficult?
Like this. Well, I thought I'd never done anything like that.
But what was difficult?
It was difficult to make it look decent, just look blobby and uninteresting. Look dull, I think.
So you fight against that by yourself, but continue. And
then I did a lot of art at secondary school.
Yeah.
The last year I did nearly all art. I spent nearly all my time in the art.
You got good grades?
Yeah, and I loved it. I liked it.
So
but then after that I went to university, so I stopped.
Oh, you did stop at the university?
Yeah.
What did you?
I kept going for a little while, going to life drawing, but then I went to pottery, I think.
So what did you study in the university?
Oh, psychology and French.
Do you see the connection between psychology and the painting art?
I couldn't see it then, I can see some connections now.
Because you have your work as a therapist, so you have some. Could you describe a little bit about how it works?
Well, I suppose I've always liked the work of Carl Jung. And I had some therapy with a Jungian therapist in England, which is what got me seriously painting again, actually, because she suggested I paint as part of the therapy and bring the paintings along. So that's when I really got back into it.
And what's the theory behind using the painting as a way to process it?
Well, it's a way of connecting with deeper things than just speaking. And that's what happened for me. I got in touch with all sorts of images that I'd never thought of, really. I was quite surprised at what happened.
To yourself?
I was quite surprised by what I started doing.
So that came after the study of the psychology?
Yeah, a long time after.
Oh, I see. Which is basically to connect to your unconscious or deep feeling.
Yeah.
And you got the surprise of what came out.
Yeah.
What was the state of mind to bring that to come out? Because there has to have some...
Well, I was pretty depressed at the time, which is why I was having therapy. Pretty stuck, pretty unhappy.
Were you in England at the time? Wow.
It was winter in England.
That's when you painted?
That's when I started painting as part of the therapy. I mean, I'd been doing painting before that, but I'd always painted things that you look at.
And now it's different.
And now I started painting things that came from somewhere else. So they weren't things that you see around you.
Can you point one example of those paintings perhaps later in terms of this is the painting from that period? You still have those?
I think I've only got drawings in a book.
Ah, okay.
I haven't got...
You,
That painting there is a bit like that.
you mean
The one on the wall and the colours. It was quite liberating because you didn't have to have things around you that you wanted to paint, because you could just, things just came out. So I found that very exciting actually. And I did those sort of drawings for ages.
So you just had the canvas in front of you, just sit.
I mainly did it with, to start with, I sort of pencil on paper, so I just had a piece of paper and started and out it came.
And when it came, you get the surprise afterward, or what's the process of the...
Well, it was exciting. I found it exciting.
Some discovery
Yeah.
of who you are, or what comes out, or...
Probably who I am and what's important to me.
If you can explain what are the examples of the emotion or anything from that type of painting. Sometimes like a sadness or depression or joy or something moving inside
Well,
of you.
I'd have both really. There'd be all sorts of feelings in them. But they were mainly things that I felt very moved by, so I felt very attached to them actually.
So is that the image from your child days or something
No.
connected to that? You don't think?
No, they weren't from childhood.
Nothing related to it?
No. I suppose they were what you would call, in Jungian terms, archetypal images.
And explain what that is.
Well, it's the idea of the collective unconscious that we can all tap into.
Some people are good
So it
at
was quite life-changing, really.
You think some people are good at it, other people are not good, or everybody should be able to do it?
Well, I think I could tap into it then, but I can't. I probably can't now. So I think at times you can do these things.
Why not now?
You don't seem to really need to now. I mean, I might need to again, but...
Is it something to do with happiness, state of happiness, or...?
Yeah, I think I feel better.
Ah, so you don't need
I don't seem to need it, no.
to release.
Mm.
It's kind of like then connected to therapy, to reach out and process it and let it come out, and then you feel better, like tears coming out.
Well, it's more than feeling better. I mean, I think it made life very meaningful to me in a new way.
Yeah.
So I still know that's all there. I don't really need to go there. It's still there.
So the painting was...
Still part of me.
What is it still part of you?
All those things that
Yeah. So you processed it, the painting came out, the painting meant something to you, and at the same time you start to realize
Well, it sort of meant everything to me, really.
And what about in relation to other people, if you...
Well, I got divorced around that time.
Yeah?
I moved back to New Zealand. Not sure that was a good idea or not. I don't know, I just felt connected in a way that I hadn't felt before, and
You feel just good in doing
it's
it?
continued. No, I just continued to feel connected to the world or history or everything.
Without painting or with painting?
Both.
Okay,
Both.
okay.
Yeah. So it was very life-changing.
And that process kept on going from...
Yeah,
London,
once I stopped
Thai.
therapy and left the country, the process kept going. I just kept going by myself.
And the nature of the painting you painted over time, has it changed? In what way?
Changed radically. Well, I was doing those kind of symbolic things, and then I don't know. I think they ran out. Really, I ran out of steam.
And then what happened? You
I
didn't paint.
started looking at things around me. No, I still wanted to paint.
So nothing
But
but...
gradually I started painting differently.
You find the...
It was gradual. It did gradually change.
Right? Are you saying you're finding the pleasure or something out in the object, or is there always a connection to your heart or the...
Well, I've always liked things and looking at things and beauty and stuff like that. So that's always been important.
So you want to capture those in a way, or not?
I'm not sure what I'm trying to capture, but I think it's a bit more than what it looks like. It's a kind of feeling that comes out of it, or the kind of feeling that I get in relation to it.
Like my painting as an example we discussed, and what it is seen to me and what it may seem by your heart eyes from unconsciousness. There's a difference is basically what you're saying, and you want to capture or express what is more deeper connection of it.
But in something that you can see.
Right. So that's natural for you because of the experience in London and continue doing.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's always underneath.
And if so, and this is a tricky thing, but for other art students, let's say, what is your comment to them in terms of their painting? You know, what is that? You know, each person has their own, but what is your way of your feeling toward the painting that you may want to share with other people?
But I think somehow they need to put quite a lot of themselves or their heart into it for it to have much other than a copy.
So it's like a breakthrough moment. You hit the wall and then you still dig into it until you connect to that.
I think it's why it's quite difficult to do.
For that,
I don't think it's that easy.
Because you have the persistence, the willingness to...
Well, you have to be prepared to enter into that state, I think,
your own.
to do it.
So it's kind of like meditation.
So you're kind of facing yourself all the time.
Right. Because you have to face your own emotion too, and why
you
not.
have to face into yourself,
right,
without any help there. And that can be quite difficult.
But that's when I think about connection to Jung or the Zen or meditation, where you let go. Instead of your mind playing is just mind playing. You have to go deeper.
You want your mind out of it, really.
Right.
Which is quite hard to do.
So that's the state basically we want to get to access to that inner feeling.
Yeah.
Then the world looks different.
And I mean, I think lots of people have lots of different ways of getting there. But for me, painting has been a way of getting there. I'm not saying it's the only way.
Well, yeah, that's what I see.
To achieve that state, because there's lots of ways.
Like meditation to me has given me the opportunity of breaking through and seeing the world in a different eyes and appreciating all the stuff. But that state and appreciation, I feel that you may gain through your art, and painting is what you're pointing. So the world.
So you could say it's a bit of a spiritual path.
Yeah. So it was very rewarding for you.
Extremely.
Changes, you discover yourself, and environment change, your life change, relationship, everything change, the subject concern changes, that all processed and then reflected to this sense that you're talking about. So that is
so that keeps changing.
So therefore you can keep on writing or painting forever.
Well, there'll always be things that are concerns or issues. Yeah.
Tell me when you have a difficulty. Let's say we went through this one, painting something, and I feel in my case I can do better. But if you overdo it, something may change and collapse the system and something like that. What's going on if that happens, and does it happen to you?
Oh yes, of course it does. Yes, it does. Sometimes I think it's just trying too hard. And getting an idea and pushing an idea too hard. So you probably try to control it too much.
Right. Like Picasso said, when people said your painting's much better when you're older and more dynamic, and he said it takes years to become young. And that's kind of like what
I think you do try and get your mind out of the way. So you do end up in a way trying to be like a child.
Yeah, and it's the Zen saying too,
Yeah.
the childlikeness is the nature of,
Yeah.
genuine feeling instead of a corrupt system and ideas that you live. So that's a continuous process because we use the mind to live in this society, but you want to...
But you sort of got to get away from it sometimes.
Right.
Otherwise it's a bit deadly if you're always in your mind.
So back to the therapy, it makes sense to use the art painting as a way of doing it. So that's what...
Well, for people who will do it, it works. I mean, some people can do it and some people just can't get there. But for people who can do it or who will persevere with it, yes, it does. It opens up things.
Could you give me an example of something that happened?
Well, I run an art therapy group, so yeah, I remember somebody a man who hadn't painted before and who just got really, really excited by painting. To the extent that he always had to stand on a chair and paint over the top of it, and he did wonderful things. And they came out of his experience, but they were very wild and animated, and yeah, it was just like a new life opened up for him, really.
And you feel
it's not usually that dramatic for people, but...
and you can see the change of how he changes, but also the painting itself expressed that change too.
Well, express something in him that he hadn't been able to express up till then, I think.
What about looking from the, you're a professional, so people buy your painting, so from the buyer's point of view, they like have your painting. I like lots of paintings that you have, and I've seen hundreds of them. What do you think they capture? It's hard to say, probably.
What are they buying?
Yeah.
Expect they're buying some kind of feeling. But I don't know exactly what they think they're buying, but I expect it as a kind of feeling that they're responding to.
They might want to identify which you can transfer or
Or they
share.
might say, oh, I know that hill, but I think it's something more than that.
Goes back to, again, subconscious connection
I think
of some kind.
I think so.
So they feel...
And I think it's why some people are drawn to them and lots of people are not.
Right, because
They
of
don't feel
their
it.
written experience.
Yeah. So it's not a strictly rational.
I may say just the odd thing, but Picasso I've studied, or I'm interested in his work and so forth. And when I read first time, I felt like lots of Zen in it, lots of enlightening feeling and childlikeness and the passion and energy and all that stuff. So if you go back to your saying about spiritual path, I feel that he can connect to that source and live according to that source. And some may think it's womanizer, other things, but still there's interesting energy.
I think in a way he was able to live it out quite directly, perhaps more than most people ever manage it. And I mean, you can criticise him on other grounds, but in a way he was living out
truthful to his own.
Something quite profound. That probably most people don't ever do that directly.
So somehow that is communicated to the people.
I think it's communicated through the work.
Yes, that's what I think. And here's a jump to it, to like a meditation and Zen, for example. There's a Zen painting or flower arrangement, tea ceremony, the garden of the Zen, and there's certain expression of how the calm, peaceful mind may represent in all that stuff. So they are art in themselves to express like that. So if I look at that, then this is the last part of this question perhaps, is that how we live and connect to the source, whether it's painting or playing tennis or diving or gardening or whatever. I intuitively feel there's something that there's different entryway, but there's something connected to that. And if you are lucky enough to find that, then you feel happy and connected.
Then you're very lucky, really.
To whether painting or any other enjoyment.
I think anyone who finds that is very lucky, whatever the way they do it.
So in the meditation, for example, if you have a religious experience, you break through and the whole world looks different. And maybe that's the connection to what you're saying about the painting and the world look different and pleasant and happy, or maybe not happy in some cases, but you want to extract that.
I think it does make the world look more alive, much more alive.
Any other comment as to how the painting is received in the society or what's going on?
I think it's always quite difficult. I mean,
right. So many interpretations.
You never know who will respond to what and who won't either.
Yeah.
It feels very random. Sometimes it's quite surprising who responds to things.
So I think that your enjoyment comes your own and live accordingly. But in painting and sharing and selling and communicating, you may have some encounter that make you feel that my message is somehow shared, or is there anything like that? Or it's not easy
Well,
to...
I think it's nice when people appreciate it, but it isn't the main point, really.
It's very subjective.
And lots of times they don't appreciate it, and it's... I don't think you can afford to get too tied up in that, because
it doesn't matter.
Well, it can be very off-putting.
Yeah.
If you're painting to sell and it doesn't
sell, that's right. Yeah.
It becomes pointless. There's easier ways of earning money than trying to do paintings to sell. You know, I mean, if you seriously...
Unless it's for the ego purpose or something.
Well, maybe, but yeah, I mean, I just don't think... I think it kills it.
Well said.
So I think I like to try and keep all that out of my mind, really, because I find it too interfering.
So
this is why I haven't painted since the art escape, because I had too much of people looking and commenting, and I can't do it till I can get back there by myself without them, actually. So although it's nice that people come and look, it is quite interfering.
I see it in my way of looking at the world and living. Connected to what you said is like we want to have a gyroscope of knowing which way to go and how we are doing. And if you can feel it, you know when to do it and not to do it, so that you don't spin your wheel too much and get lost, much more so than calm and settle down and find a way. Because if you search for it, that's a Zen word too, or in some Buddhist, if you search for it, you cannot find it. And that's what Picasso said too.
No. You have to find your way in, but you can't.
You don't search.
You can't make it happen.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is a bit frustrating, but
that's the way it is.
But true.